So this is part 2 in designing apps in Keynote. And in this movie, we're going to continue where we were before when we had open our template Keynote that we downloaded from Apple's developer site. The first thing we want to do now is open our own Keynote. So I'm just going to choose a very blank, plain presentation, and we can adjust that later. So with that open there, we just have to make a couple of changes, and this is to do with the way that the template sizing works compared to a default Keynote presentation that you might come across. So I'm just going to switch back to the other template and go into the document setup, and you can see it has a custom size. So back in our own, I'm doing that very fast, but I need to go into the document area and change the size to 2000 by 1200. And now our document's changed a little bit. And the reason for that is because what we're going to do is copy some stuff over. So I'm going to open up our object area, and you can see there, I'm just going to delete that one. So we've got our object list. Now going back to the template, I want to be able to sort of copy these objects over so that I can copy that layout into my own template. And to do that, I need to go into the master slide layout. So I'm just going to right mouse click and go edit master slide. And you can see there, this is the master slide layouts that we have available in the template. So with that one selected, I'm just going to copy it. So I'm just going to right mouse click and go copy, but you can use Command C. And then I'm going to return back to the other template. And I need to look at the master slide layout for the one that I'm editing. And in here, I can go Command V or edit paste, whatever way possible. So now I've actually pasted that master slide in. And this is where if we didn't change the document sizing, we would run into some issues. So with that done, I can return to closing my master view, and either I can apply the master slide to this blank one by doing that, or I can add a new slide and choose that layout from the new slide. So there I've got two slides done in different ways. So now I've done that, I've got my background master slide that I can apply different objects to or add different objects to. So switching back again to my template area and looking at I had to just close my master slide. I want to grab all of these areas. So it's pretty much easy just going shift click, command click, and copying those. So I can go right mouse click and say copy. And then when I come back here, as long as I've got my object list available, I can paste that straight in. Now, it does look a bit different at some points, mainly because of ordering in layout. So you might see there that it doesn't look like the frame of the iPhone is covering up those assets because the assets are square, but the edge of the iPhone is round. And then if I change the order in the list, then they've gone too far back and I can't see them. So what I might need to do is individually change them. So I'm just going to pick one of them for now and change its order. So if I go to arrange, and I can just like keep bringing it forward until I can see it. That's a little bit cumbersome, but it gives us the effect that we want. So it's just about laying it up. And you can see that the edge of the iPhone now is wrapping. And that's really important that we've grabbed that template to get that nice masking effect that Apple's designers have done for us. So when I open up these different areas, you can see all the objects. So this is our navigation bar across the top. You've got a title there and some objects. So let's do the alarm. Let's do an alarm. So I'm going to call this, this screen's going to have alarm at the title, but I might want to change some of these objects. So for instance, the star on the right hand side, I might want to change that to now being like a settings gear. And this is where SF symbols comes back in, because I can search SF symbols. I'm going to try cog. That didn't work. Try settings. Let's try gear. Oh, there you go. So with that, I found a gear icon that I like, and I can just go copy symbol. And when I go back to my Keynote, I can just paste that in. Now, it has dropped it in. It looks a bit funny, but I can just click and drag it into where I want it to be. And also, because I'm in Keynote, I can nicely zoom in and get a closer look. I'm just pinching and zooming and just aligning it over the other star. Because it's a text file at this point, what I might need to do as well is increase the font size just so it lines up nicely. Okay, the other thing that I might do is change its color to be the blue as well. Or you might have a different thing that you're choosing, but I'm going to stick to the blue. I can use the eyedropper tool in my color picker and just sort of grab in the middle. And now I've got that blue added. So now I can click on the star that's sitting there and just delete it. And now I've got my nice little cog icon. Looks really nice. And we can do this anywhere. So I could change that star if I wanted to, but I'll leave that for now. That could be something that you might want to try and do. Down the bottom of the screen in my tab bar, I'm going to do the same process. So just following that through, I need a good icon for my alarm, and I'm going to replace the star. So first of all, I might change where it says tab 1. I might change that to say alarm. And you notice how alarm's blue because that's the highlighted tab and the others are grey. So over here, I might look for a clock. No, it doesn't seem to be a good clock there. An alarm could be, I reckon, a bell. So let's have a look for bell. Oh, look at that. Lots of bell icons, or bell on, bell off. That's cool. So I might pick, I think I'll pick the solid one, and we might play with the other one. I'll show you the difference. So I'm just going to copy that again. I just did Command C, and I'm going to paste that. Make sure I'm pasting it inside that area. Again, I'm going to change the size so it matches. I think in this case it's about 26 point, I think. That seems to be working. Again, changing my font size. You can actually remember these colors too. So if I show you here, I'm going to grab this one. And with that selected, I can actually drag that over here into this color picker area. So I can just pick from there in the future. It's really handy to do, so you don't have to keep doing the color picking every time. Delete my star. That looks really cool. Now let's go and have a look at, I'm going to change the other one. Just for this example here, you might obviously, just depending on what your tabs are going to do, put something in that place. 26 is my size because I got that on the first one. Just going to line that up and change it to a grey this time. Bang. Get rid of my shape. I can't remember what shape it is this time. I think it's a circle. Yep. So delete the circle and there you go. So you can get the different effects happening. That tab bar's looking pretty good. Okay. Now, if we were going to put some more things in, like we wanted to show that we've got, I don't know, a list of alarms. So what I might do is return back to my template and just start scrolling through looking for what I'm after. No, that doesn't have it. I'm looking for, yeah, something like that. So I can see there, like I've got all different options for lists. So I can have lists, I can show that what happens when you swipe. I can have an information, a tick box. I'm going to switch over to the white version. I think I'm just going to have one with, no, I think I'll get that one with a little arrow on it. So there it is. See how it's highlighted over there? I can actually copy that entire group again. I might minimize this so it's less confusing, and I'm going to paste it in. And now I just have to move it in place and go through that same sort of setup that I had before. So I have to change its ordering just to get it so it's behind, still sticking in front. I might go backwards again a few times. Yeah, that looks better. So now I've got that. I might change the title of it. So with that selected, sometimes it's easier to select it and then expand, but other times you can double click and it will work quite well. So I'm just going to say something like alarm at 8 a.m. I don't know, whatever you think this list might include. I would imagine this alarm screen might say, if this app was designed about one alarm, it might list that. Or if you think about Apple's clock app, the alarms like are just done in one long list of all the different alarms and you can adjust them. So from there, I'm going to put, I think, let's see what else I can add. Oh, look, there's all different things here that you can put into your app. Give it those different features. So if you wanted to show like when you were adding the alarm, how you change the time, like if it's using a toggle on and off, all those things. The other thing I want to show you is how we can duplicate this so we can really look at how we get multiple alarms. So I'm just going to do a simple Command V to paste. A really quick way is hold down the Option key on your keyboard, click and drag. Very cool. That works in most apps on a Mac. With all that done, I can select them all. And I can do a couple of tricks. I can right mouse click and go to Align Objects and choose Center. And that will align them. And then I'm going to do some alignment or distribution so that they're distributed vertically. And now that makes them look a bit neater. The only thing left to do now is change the height order so that they all stick behind. So I'm going to have to select them all individually just because they're overlapping the edge of my iPhone and looks a bit messy. Okay, so from there, I think that's a really, really good example of what's possible. The other thing I'll show you is now that I've got all them together, I can group that section, so my list, into one group. So I can call that list of alarms and see how that's tidied up my object list. So again, another fancy feature while you're doing all this stuff. So anyway, it's up to you now to go off and design your app and use some of the skills I've shown you there.